No matter if points are gained or points are lost, there will be much to discuss. For analysis regarding tonight's Winnipeg Jets game, here are Dave Minuk, Ezra Ginsburg, and your host, Drew Mindell. The Illegal Curve post-game show starts now.
Much like Mark Twain once said, the reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. So too can the Winnipeg Jets. Good evening, Winnipeg. Good evening, Manitoba. For all those joining us live this evening on our YouTube channel and all of our social media platforms, we say good evening, universe, and welcome to the Illegal Curve post-game show. With Dave Minuk, I'm your host, Drew Mindell, here to discuss the Winnipeg Jets' unexpected 3-2 victory over the Tampa Bay Lightning, a result that I think even the most diehard of Jets fans would not have expected given the team's play as of recent. But any way you cut it, 2 straight days, 2 straight games, 2 straight wins, 4 points in the bank for the Winnipeg Jets. And certainly the feelings of despair have been, at least temporarily, waylaid by feelings of joy. Good evening to you, Mr. Minuk. How are things?
I'm good, Drew. The joy is back in Joyland, as Claude Noel liked to say it. Well, he usually referenced it as in a negative, but we'll put the positive spin on that. And folks are excited now that the Jets have swept through the Sunshine State. They're feeling good about a Panthers win, a Lightning win, and now the Jets spring back. We sprang forward overnight, and now the Jets spring back into.
I have no idea what time it is.
Yeah, the Jets spring back into third in the Central with the Avalanche idle tonight, and putting more pressure on both the Flames, and the Predators, who are in action this evening.
Yes.
And so we don't need to give an exact score, Drew, because people are going to be listening on the podcast. They're going to be like, well, this is already old news. So let's keep it current. Well, technically, I guess everything we're talking about on the show is old news because we're referencing a previous game. But look, the fact is that was a gutsy win by this Winnipeg Jets club. It was a big win by the Winnipeg Jets club. We didn't know what was going to happen. After the game last night, Rick Bowness said he wasn't expecting Adam Lowry and Josh Morrissey to play in this game, which isn't a surprise. I went back and I watched Josh Morrissey. We all saw why, because they highlighted it on the broadcast last night when he got injured at the end of the second period. Adam Lowry, a little bit of a different story. So I went back and I watched and I saw it was that Mark Stahl reverse hit with about 5:17 left in the third period that hurt him. But as they said, he was able to maintain and take the warm-up skate, and he was going to be a game-time decision. And we also learned that they wouldn't be getting Pierre-Luc Dubois unless it was something unexpected. I think Rick Bowness said unless there's a big improvement between today and Tuesday when they play in Carolina. Carolina, by the way, who suffered their second straight shutout defeat tonight. I saw that. So
3-0. New Jersey beat Carolina 3-0 in a key Eastern Conference, potentially an Eastern Conference Finals matchup between two very good teams out of the East, and New Jersey swept them 3-0. Actually, it can't be a finals matchup. They're in the same conference. I forgot Carolina. You think Carolina, you think Metropolitan Division. You think Eastern Seaboard, right near New York and New Jersey and the Islanders. Carolina. How could I have ever forgotten about it? But anyways, I apologize for that.
But I mean, I think that's the point. I think the point is, Drew, that folks are excited about the fact that right now the Jets have put some back-to-back wins. And sorry, I was just finishing off the thought. So you didn't know if you're going to have Lowry. You're not going to have Dubois most likely for that game against Carolina. And you had to have some guys step in. So Dylan Samberg, you're bumped out of the lineup. Now you're going to be top pairing Dylan Samberg, PK Dylan Samberg. There's your reward. And I thought he handled himself quite well, given that opportunity, as he's done throughout the course of this year. And of course, who's a forward he drew? And they didn't need one, of course, because Adam Lowry played. So they just did a couple of flips on wing. But for the most part, again, and what we saw, we've talked about it. You're getting 5-on-5 scoring, balance. You're getting the big boys who scored last night in Florida. But what I saw tonight was a contribution from the third and fourth lines that you need to see in a team that's going to be balanced. And that to me was significant. To get Barron playing the way he did, I thought Mason Appleton played his best game of the season. I thought Menelainen and Stenlund and Gustafsson, they were all effective. So I really did think the third and fourth lines contributed a lot to tonight's win.
Look, you needed all hands on deck, and the Jets got a victory with all hands on deck. And that, you knew that it was going to be a difficult matchup against Tampa Bay. Both teams played last night, so in that sense, each team is on equal footing. I would argue, the Jets obviously played a much more spirited game, going almost close to 65 minutes last night against the Florida Panthers. Well, Tampa Bay had, if I'm not mistaken, the Chicago Blackhawks, so we know that a bit of a lesser weight, let's say, in opponent last night.
Yeah,
the Jets knew that they would, it was not going to be easy. What's most impressive to me about this Jets victory is, I mean, look, there's negative things to talk about, and we'll get to them in the course of our game recap brought to you by Betway. But against Los Angeles, they couldn't hold the lead. Against Florida last night, they couldn't hold the lead. Yet tonight against Tampa Bay, it wasn't always pretty, but they held the lead. And they held the lead in the third period, and I thought they played a very good, very, I'm going to say, tactical third period. They were aggressive when it was important to be aggressive, but they weren't overly so. They were cautious when it was prudent to be cautious. I just thought that top to bottom, this was a very good win for the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, we're not planning a parade here, folks. So let's not get carried away or anything. But all this team can do is start to try and dig themselves out of the hole that they're in. Dig up, stupid. They can only do it one handful at a time. And they did a bit of a handful last night, and they did another handful tonight. And if you had said to any Jets fan after Wednesday's game against Minnesota that the Jets are going to go to Florida, they're going to play the Panthers, they're going to play the Lightning, and they're going to come away with 4 points, people probably would have looked at you cross-eyed to begin with, and then maybe taken you in for a little bit of the good old-fashioned drug testing. But that's where we're at right now. The Jets get all 4 points in the standings bank. They move out of the wild card spot. Obviously, Colorado with significant games in hand on them, 3 games in hand. But the Jets move back into third spot in the Central Division. And just that thought, just that feeling, just the relief that probably the Jets probably had been like a boiling pot of water that had a lid on it, and it's rattling and it's about to burst. And finally, somebody gently removed the lid and let the pressure out a little bit. And I think that's what the team is probably feeling last night to some extent, but even more so tonight. That lid has been, if they had laid an egg tonight, the lid would have been right back on. But instead, the lid has been put to the side, at least, for whatever happens on Tuesday. You can just sort of say, okay, it's already a successful road trip.
Well, and the one thing that we have to, I guess, credit Rick Bowness for was going back and being bold and playing Connor Hellebuyck. And we talked about it actually at the end of last night's show, Drew, because I asked you, I said, well, what were the high danger chances? Was it a tough game for Connor Hellebuyck, or were a lot of the shots from the outside? And that's kind of, would minimize the amount of how taxing it would have been, even though there's no tax in Florida, how taxing that game would have been on Connor Hellebuyck. You could have at least smiled at my attempted humor.
I thought it was a pretty decent one. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, I thought I saw you give a little smirk, but I wanted a little more of a high course, huh?
Sorry.
But anyways.
Next time I'll give you a chortle. I'll give you a full chortle next time.
I'll take that. Okay. So anyhow, the point is that, so we weren't sure, right? He did face 48 shots last night against Florida. Rick Bowness did seem to have a little disbelief at the shot tally, because he was like, the first 2 seconds of the game, it was 3-4 shots already. It was kind of like he almost had a disbelief. But regardless, in the media availability he had, which you can listen to or watch on illegalcurve.com, he had said, Connor Hellebuyck wanted the ball. And when your number one top goaltender wants the ball, you let him take it. And that's what he did. So good on him for having faith in Connor Hellebuyck, and good on Connor Hellebuyck for once again saying, okay, you know what? I've got to do my thing. And exactly. And we know he likes the back-to-back. We know he likes to play, period. But it wasn't a certainty. I wasn't sure which way it was going to go in terms of which goaltender would go. You needed the win, right? Even though you got the win yesterday, you needed to continue to apply pressure to Calgary and to Nashville. And again, more importantly, and what we've talked about is you had to put yourself in a position this year to have your destiny in your own hands, not to be reliant on other teams Nashville lost to Arizona and Calgary lost to Anaheim. Right. You don't want to have to be in a position where you're reliant on other teams to do your dirty work. So what the Jets needed was a win. They have a day off tomorrow. So they'll be able to relax in Carolina, rally, nice city, Drew.
Yes.
And then you have. And so after that, what are they going to do? They're going to be able to put it all out there for a tough game against Carolina.
Yeah.
Carolina, obviously. And remember, Tampa and Florida are both teams that are desperate for points.
Sure.
So it wasn't as if these are teams that are
Florida
prepared
more so than Tampa, but yeah.
Well, for sure. But I mean, like, but Tampa, the reason I say put Tampa in the same vein is because Tampa has been playing well.
Right.
Tampa's
now 3-5-2 in their last 10.
That's right. So they haven't been playing well, but Drew, they're a phenomenal home team. They've got the second best home record in the NHL.
Their sixth home loss of the season tonight.
That's right. That's right. The only team that's better was the Bruins.
Yeah, well, the Bruins are the only are better than everybody in all the categories.
Exactly.
But you're absolutely right. Look, the Jets deserve credit on this show, as we've said on more than one occasion. When they deserve criticism, we're going to be the first ones to criticize. But when they deserve credit and they deserve praise, they deserve praise. And it wasn't. Look, Hellebuyck was very good tonight. But I don't think that he didn't steal the game. It's not like he was the sole reason why.
Especially when he gave up the first Drew. Especially when he gave up the first goal on the first shot.
Yeah, no question. But you're holding. You talked about high danger chances. You held Tampa Bay to 8 high danger chances in the course of the game, which is fewer than Florida had last night. You got 7 high danger chances. This is at 5-on-5, I should say. So yeah, you got badly outcoursed because Tampa Bay is usually going to win that battle against you. And this was a win that was reminiscent of a lot of wins earlier in the season. For how the Jets, they get timely goal scoring, they get some good defense, good enough defense, let's say, in the third period. The goaltending is solid, not spectacular. It wasn't spectacular tonight, but it was solid. And the Jets end up getting the victory. I mean, and this is a huge win for them. You can't overstate, especially, Dave, when you consider that, it was a 3-1 game. And the Jets had an opportunity to really take control on the power play. Yeah. And of course, this team can't do anything easy. They refuse to make it easy on themselves. Disaster strikes, and we'll get into that when we get into the game recap. But you didn't see a sag. You didn't see them hang their heads. Not only that, but then they killed off that extended 5-on-3.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be, one of the certainly the key moments of this game when Mike and Ken and whomever's on the road trip are going to be talking about this game, and they're going to be recapping this game in the write-throughs. They're going to be talking about that 5-on-3. You can't overstate how important that was when it happened late in the second period after the Jets had given up that shorthanded goal. Scheifele and then Stenlund, and it's a 5-on-3 for over a minute. And the Jets, it's a scramble drill. It's a 5-alarm fire. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the fire was put out, and there was no damage done at all.
No, and you know what? I had the comment up by Jeff because I thought the back checking by the team was overall excellent. I thought there was a couple of instances. There was one play in the third period where Dylan Samberg pinches, so he's in deep in the Tampa zone, leaving Dylan DeMello essentially alone. Not originally, but the way the play developed to defend against a 2-on-1, and DeMello defended it perfectly. But Mark Scheifele, credit to him for getting the wheels back and getting back into the play to try and create a little back pressure. So I like the way the Jets tried to support each other on the ice tonight. Overall, I mean, again, you're always going to have some breakdowns. No team is generally perfect in every hockey game, but. Kudos to the team, because you're right, Drew. This was a gutsy effort from top to bottom, right? Mm-hmm. From top to bottom, you saw guys contribute. And again, you've got a lot of the guys who generally don't receive a lot of that. And I thought Morgan Barron for sure deserved credit, not just because he had the game-winning goal, but great. I just thought he overall, I mean, he was a force to be reckoned with a little bit in tonight's game. And again, Mason Appleton, a guy who's been a little bit maligned of late. I thought he had an extraordinarily high hustle level tonight, and I think he was doing quite a bit. I think he was creating quite a bit. So obviously he didn't finish on his breakaway opportunity in the third period, which would have been a nice little insurance marker for the Winnipeg Jets. But I just think when you can have guys like that contributing in a positive manner, it's always going to be a better thing for this hockey club, because you're getting that balance, you're getting that contribution from the guys top to bottom.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it was. And I mean, and that's what you need, especially on the second half of a back-to-back. You need contributions right throughout your lineup. And I mean, and I don't think you can really talk about this win again without talking about the impact of Nino Niederreiter. I mean, yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about his goal when we coming up.
What about his glove save?
Well, the glove save is what I was going to touch on. I mean, this is a guy who doesn't matter. He's always in front of the net. Doesn't matter if it's the opposition net or if it's his own net. But I mean, that puck was going in. That puck was, it was going to be, it's one, and that would have been such a killer of a goal, because it's just such a fluky sort of flop. pop up that you can't really see, or the goalie, you can't blame anyone. They would have just been all sorts of ugly there. But what happens instead is that Nino Niederreiter swipes it away, and the Jets manage to clear the zone. And I mean, how many chances did the Jets have to hit that empty net? And you're sort of holding your breath throughout that entire sequence when they miss the empty net a couple of times, and you're like, oh God, here it's come. You can feel you can feel that it's going to go and beat Connor Hellebuck, and the game's going to be tied, and then who knows what happens. And the Lightning get close with Victor Hedman rings it off the goal post with I guess it might have been 7-8 seconds left in the game at that point in time.
Drew, that's all Connor Hellebuck gave him.
Yeah, well, you know what? That's what the goalie would tell you, isn't that? And that it's and the cliche game of inches, but it was certainly on display there. Jets get the win, and they don't apologize for anything or any way that they got the win. And in fact, there's a lot that the team is probably going to like about it, and maybe try and take moving forward Tuesday to Carolina to meet the Hurricanes. Let's get into it. It's the Betway game recap. It's brought to you by Betway, one of the most trusted voices in sports betting, both in Canada and all around the world. Betway is the sports betting app that puts you, the customer, at the forefront. With a large selection of betting options and sports, as well as strong promotions and fair odds, what are you waiting for? Head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly. March Madness starts on Thursday, so of course you're probably looking for a place to maybe lay a bet or two on your favorite college basketball team. Betway would be our recommended place to do so. Get in the action with our friends at Betway. Dave, you touched on it early in the post-game show. The Lightning score on the first goal of the game, the first shot of the game at the 1:19 mark of the first period. It's Alex Killorn, his 20th of the season, assist to Anthony Cirelli and Brandon Hagel. And yes, he's in alone, but it just squeaks through Connor Hellebuck. You thought maybe Nate Schmidt had scooped it off the line before it crossed. Obviously, he didn't, and the Lightning have an early 1-0 lead, and you're like, uh-oh, what's happening here now?
You're thinking maybe Rick Bowness should not have started Connor Hellebuck.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that was not the right decision, but of course, hindsight is 2020, as they say, Drew. And look, it was a little bit of a breakdown. The Jets, a bit of a sleepy start to that sequence,
Mm-hmm.
and you've got basically the Jets are a little bit exposed, right? And unfortunately for them, it really does. Give the Bolts that early goal. And it's interesting because, Drew, you mentioned the word sag and how the Jets didn't sag. And I thought that to me was what was impressive about the team, because they very easily could have been like, oh, well, whatever, we're going to earn a split. And I know that it happens in the first minute and a half of the game, so you're not expecting them to sag immediately. But I'm just saying, you could see it in body language. Like, you could be like, oh, great, here we go. Tampa's going to roll us. But they didn't. And I thought that's what I always watch for after a goal against, is to see how the team responds shortly thereafter. And I thought that the response was good. And look, it's just a bit of a, it wasn't the best defensive play. I think it was Stanley who was leaving, basically left his guy, and unfortunately put himself into a bad position and put Nate Schmidt into a bit of a bad position. And then the Jets are a bit overwhelmed, and Blake Wheeler, I think he was a bit late to get back into the sequence of play. So he wasn't on his man. So basically allowed Schmidt to be doubled up. And so, look, it's not a great defensive play by the Jets, and you're trying to show that your defensive structure, because that's what Rick Bowness is supposed to be, right? Rick Bowness is supposed to be a defensive structure coach, and your team's defensive structure was a bit loose to start that game. Less than ideal, of course, because because again, as it gets closer and closer to the playoffs, if you want to prove that you're a contender and not a pretender, then you really can't have loose games. And look, I'm not suggesting the Jets are there yet, but if they can get back on track, it's going to go a long way. But part of that is going to be being better defensively. We saw it throughout the rest of the game, but early to start 1-0, you're like, oh boy, here you go again.
Here you go again. Before we get to the tying goal, it is a final in London, Ontario. Team Canada, Brad Gushue, has defeated Team Manitoba, Matt Dunstone. I believe the final score is 7-5, if I'm not mistaken. Team Canada were the repeat Brier champions, but a hell of a performance by Matt Dunstone representing Manitoba at the Brier for the first time. And he's going to be back, and he's going to be a frequent representative wearing the Bison at the Brier. So there's a final in London, Ontario. Brad Gushue to winning over Matt Dunstone. We do it all here on the Illegal Curve post-game show.
What would our show be if we were a curling show, Drew? What would it be called?
The Illegal Brush. I'm trying to think what would be illegal.
What's illegal in curling?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a hog line violation curling show. It's not quite illegal, but it's the hog line violation.
No,
I know, but we could go with the hog line violation curling show.
I don't think so.
It's close enough to illegal. There's nothing specific there's no specific infraction in curling that's got the word illegal in it. But
right.
Hog line violation, the burnt stones. There you go, Brad. Dropped rocks.
Legal brush.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's no such really thing as an illegal brush.
What is Ticona Pauly suggesting? I don't curl, so I'm not sure.
I haven't seen what Ticona Pauly is saying yet, but I'm sure somebody will think of something. But in the meantime, there you have a final from London.
The illegal stone. The illegal stone. I like that one.
Yeah, but what about a stone could be illegal? There's nothing.
Maybe your stone's too big. You got some big stones, though, Drew, don't you?
Only when I forget it. Not going there. It's Sunday night. My brain is a bit fried. We've been doing a lot of shows lately, so we're just going to keep it focused, nice and neat, and keep it PG-13 here on the Illegal Curve post-game show. We remind everybody, if you haven't already done so, yeah, see Kenny's water bottle saying hog line violation. That's what I said. Smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, tell your friends, tell your family. Maybe you have somebody who's looking for something to do right now. Maybe you have a Jets fan in your life who doesn't know that we are broadcasting live right now. Tell them to join us here on our YouTube channel, like we do it on after each and every Winnipeg Jets game. The Jets tie it up. It takes just under 9 minutes later, 8 minutes and 56 seconds after the Lightning opened the scoring. A bit of a seeing-eyed shot, if you want to say, a bit of a favor from an old teammate of the Winnipeg Jets. Nate Schmidt is credited with his 7th of the season. Assist to Logan Stanley. That's Stanley's second. This looks like a nothing play, but it gets a nice little tip, a bit of a redirection accidentally by Mikey Eyssimont, and somehow manages to evade Andrei Vasilevsky. Both all-world goaltenders give up goals that have a little bit of an odor to it to start the game.
And for all you people who told me that Mikey Eyssimont couldn't score goals for the Jets, I prove you wrong. Right. Look, Mikey Eyssimont plays a hard game, and he's a tenacious guy, and that's an unfortunate bounce off of him. But before we get to the goal, Drew
took Morgan Baronov in the corner with a big hit late in the third period.
I'm like, weren't you guys on the Moose together last year? But anyway, before we get to the goal though, guys who don't get assists, and it's been a weekend of me talking about guys who make nice plays. It's the famous Craig Button third assist, which you of course don't get credit for on the score sheet. But I want to highlight what Gustafsson and Menelainen did, because they had a good forecheck in the Tampa zone, forced the Bolts to, again, what did the Jets do? They played quick, they played heavy. Mm-hmm. Those are two things that if the Jets can play that way consistently, it's going to go well for them more often than not. So Gustafsson and Menelainen both go hard into that corner, force Tampa to turn over the puck. They get the puck back. Of course, Schmidt fires it on net. But what did Gustafsson and Menelainen both do? Which what we've been talking about. Both of them go in front of the net and create a little chaos. Yeah, and both of them go in front of the net with the intention to take away Vasilevsky's eyes. And even though the puck went in off of Eyssimont, the idea was the right idea. That's what, to me, was highlightable, because, Nate Schmidt getting the goal, that's great. We've been talking about, that's another thing we've been talking about throughout the course of the last little bit with the Jets. They're not shooting enough, and they're not getting enough shots, which is one thing, but they weren't shooting enough when they had that opportunity. They're trying to go for the perfect pass. Nate Schmidt fires a shot on net, seeing traffic go to the front, and he gets it to go off of Eyssimont. So it's a bit of a lucky goal, but it's kind of the goal the Jets needed, right? Yeah. Rather than looking for a perfect goal against Vasilevsky, it's kind of the goal they needed, because look, Vasilevsky was stopping the quote perfect type of goals, like the Kyle Connor breakaway or the Nikolai Ehlers breakaway opportunities. So to me, that was exactly the kind of goal the Jets needed to get themselves into the game and feel good and reward guys for doing the right thing, playing hard, playing fast.
Yeah, exactly right. So 1-1 at that point in time, and that's how the first period ended, both teams getting the one goal. Shots 7-4 in favor of Tampa. I would say that it was a bit of a sleepy start to the game. I would say almost the game built to the third period. I thought the second was almost a little sleepy. I think it was about halfway through the game, and the shots were something like, maybe 14-10. It was very sort of a bit of a subdued game that obviously picked up as it got closer to the conclusion. But you sort of saw that from both teams, I thought, early in the game, just maybe finding their legs playing the second half of a back-to-back. But no matter, 1-1 after 20 minutes. The Jets opened the scoring in the second period. It's a power play goal. The much maligned power play seems like it's breaking through a little bit. We know they had success last night against a bad Florida Panthers penalty kill. Tonight they get a goal against the Tampa Bay Lightning. It is Nino Niederreiter. How much more can you say about him and his impressive play as a member of the Winnipeg Jets? His 21st of the season, assist to Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler. And you know what? You like it. It's just right in front of the net. It's a guy who's going hard to the net with a strong net drive and everything else. And then he's able to deposit the shot again past Vasilevsky in tight. You know where he's scoring from, Niederreiter, for the most part. And it's low down, and it's another one just like that.
Well, I mean, it's exactly what the Jets need, right? Yeah. A guy who has, because you can have guys who go to the front of the net and sometimes they don't have the best hands. Right. Nino Niederreiter has very good hands, and he's doing what the Jets need. I mean, sometimes he's shooting. He almost had a shot on Connor Hellebuyck. So, I mean, sometimes he's a little aggressive with that shot, but that's the kind of play, Drew, that you needed to see from the Winnipeg Jets. Again, like Nino Niederreiter has been such a breath of, I mean, and I look, I'm not going to pillory the decision by the Tampa Bay Lightning to trade for Tanner Jeannot, because I like Tanner Jeannot as a player. Mm-hmm. But when you look at what Kevin Cheveldayoff gave up for Nino Niederreiter, a second round pick, and the Bolts basically, sold the farm for Tanner Jeannot, Nino Niederreiter has looked like just a revelation for this Jets club. Like, he really has been especially with Cole Perfetti injured. And obviously, if the Jets had Cole Perfetti, it would be that much more depth in terms of what they have in their lineup. But, to me, he's been such a important point. And, they had the mic'd up segment during one of the intermissions, and you could just see he brings a healthy kind of new, almost like Evgeny Svechnikov-esque, personality to the ice, and he brings some fun, and he's having a good time with this team. And again, it's one of the things we've talked about with this Jets club. Sometimes they're a little bit tight. And
it's funny. I saw a tweet at some point during the game from I want to say maybe Travis Yost of TSN.
Yeah,
somebody.
I know it was him.
Yeah, it was him, and he just basically said, Nino Niederreiter is just so consistent on every team. You know exactly what to expect from him, and that's exactly what he delivers. As long as you have your expectations properly calibrated for him, he's a coach's dream, because you know exactly what you're going to get. But not coach's dream in some of those guys who don't actually contribute. He contributes, and you know exactly how he's going to contribute, in what way, where he's going to be, what he brings to the table. And it's just the consistency that he brings, night in, night out, almost season in, season out throughout the course of his career, is something really just, that every team probably can use a Nino Niederreiter.
No, absolutely. And even better for the Jets and Jets fans is he signed for another year. So you have him for one more year for $4 million, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that's a hell of a good deal for a guy who already has, I think that was his 21st goal of the season, assist to Mark Scheifele and Blake Wheeler. Mark Scheifele, by the way, 8 straight seasons for him with at least 60 points. And so, I thought he had a pretty good game. And the Jets faceoffs overall, what did they finish at, Drew?
Faceoff percentage was 55-45 in the Jets' favor.
Yeah, it felt like they won more than they lost. So that
28-23 is what they won.
Okay, so that seemed about right. But I just thought that they were better. They won at some critical times. But again, like I said, Nino Niederreiter, especially on that power play, has been exactly what this Jets club needed. And he's a guy who, there's not enough guys on this team who sit in front of the net and are willing to block a shot if they have to. And by block a shot, I mean their friendly fire shot, but whatever it takes to be in front of the net and to get a greasy goal. That's what the Jets need. And he's a shooter, right? Yeah. And that's exactly what I commented on it yesterday, and it's the same thought today. You watch him, and again, we watched him a lot. He played for Minnesota, he played for the Nashville Predators. So we tend to watch him during the games, but you don't focus, significantly on him. And again, like I said, wow, now that I've spent more time watching him, you just see the way he is with the puck. And again, I'm not saying he's Connor McDavid. I'm just saying he's a very good addition to this Jets club for a fairly minimal cost.
Yeah, absolutely right. 2-1 for the Winnipeg Jets at that point in time. 8 minutes and 3 seconds later, they get what proves to be the game-winning goal. Morgan Barron, his 7th, assist to Brendan Dillon and Mason Appleton. And, Barron gets the goal and sort of starts the play. It's a clean breakout, a clean zone exit. And he sort of just chips it up the boards, and he lets Mason Appleton use his speed to go and chase down the puck. And he does on the, to the left of Andrei Vasilevsky. Yeah. And then Appleton centers it to who else but Brendan Dillon, standing right on the paint. He's charging hard to the net. Again, a hard net drive is what you're seeing here. And it's Brendan Dillon with a hard net drive. Vasilevsky makes the save off of Brendan Dillon, but then Vasilevsky's momentum sort of carries him to outside of the goal crease, and the rebound is there for Morgan Barron to deposit into the empty net. The goal is challenged for goaltender interference by John Cooper and the Tampa Bay Lightning. The challenge is a failed one, but you have to like everything about it because, again, look at the Jets' goals tonight. 2 of the 3 come from a player who's basically standing, if not in the crease, just on the edge of the crease, and it's goals from the tough area. And this is another one of those with Morgan Barron getting his 7th on this one.
Yeah, and again, the highlight you have to do is what leads up to the goal, right? It's first of all, it's Mason Appleton hustling, and like I said before, he
using his speed.
Yeah, and so that's what you want to see. You want to see a guy who's saying, okay, I know what I need to do, right? I mean, he's got to feel a little bit of pressure right now. There's a lot of guys up with the Jets who can go into the lineup at any point right now, right? You've got Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, you've got Carson Coleman, you've got Sam Gagner. There's guys who are available. Yeah. It's not even talking about the guys who are on the Moose, but you've got guys who are right now up with the club who are available. And if you're not producing in any way, and again, it doesn't necessarily always have to be points. You just have to be producing and doing things the right way. And again, throughout the course of this game, I thought that Mason Appleton was doing the right thing. And I have to say, my initial, and I don't know how you saw it, Drew, but my initial feeling was that it wasn't going to be goalie interference. Now, I said my qualifier, of course, was I have no idea what the hell goalie interference is. And the NHL, it's a crapshoot. But I agree. Just to finish, I just saw I saw it the way you did. I saw that Vasilevsky used his own momentum, took him out of position. You also had, I think, was it who was the defenseman that was behind Dillon? Was it Sergachev?
Would have been Sergachev. Yeah, Sergachev was on the ice for that one.
Yeah, so yes, it was Sergachev who was behind Dillon, who basically had his stick on Dillon's back. I'm not saying he was giving him a huge push into Vasilevsky, but I didn't think Dillon was preventing Vasilevsky from getting back in to make the save. I thought it was that, like you said, Vasilevsky's own momentum that took him out of position and left him vulnerable for Barron to put that one home.
You know what made me nervous though? So that was my first thought but you know what? I was watching the broadcast, and the fact that Kevin Sawyer was so adamant that this should be a good goal made me nervous that it wasn't actually going to be a goal. Because at first, it took me sort of that second or third replay to sort of see it again, that at first, the first time I saw it, it's okay, does Dillon actually sort of move Vasilevsky's body? But because he was in the paint, but then he got out of the paint.
That's right.
But no, you could see it's just Vasilevsky's going,
he
side
was going
to side
too far
so quickly that he's not able to stop. And Dillon, while he was in the blue, he quickly got out of there and wasn't interfering with Vasilevsky. So I do agree with this one. I thought, but again, you spin the roulette wheel and see where it lands. In this case, it landed positively for the Winnipeg Jets, and they had a 3-1 lead. And
I know, sorry, Drew. Before we move ahead of the 3-1 lead, we got to give Brendan Dillon a bit of a shout out here. He's playing in his 800th game, NHL game of his career, and again, and I speak about this all the time, but it's such a testament to guys who don't get drafted that hard work can still get you to the NHL. And I'm not that I'm trying to inspire anyone who's potentially watching us,
Dave, but I'm just still do it.
But I'm just saying that Brendan Dillon, again, he works hard. He's matched third straight season now that he has 17 assists. He's just a few off of his career high, which he set in 18-19. So I just think Brendan Dillon is the kind of, he's a rugged, generally stay-at-home defenseman his defensive metrics have been very good this year. And, he's a nice addition to this Jets club. So to me, Dillon, deserves a little bit of praise for especially stepping up when, Josh Morrissey is injured. He's going to be needed even more in a game like tonight.
No, exactly. The fact the Jets were able to do all this without Josh Morrissey in their lineup can't be overstated.
Yeah.
The Jets get a power play as a result of the challenge failing for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Great opportunity to extend the lead to 4-1 maybe, but as we touched on, this Jets team hates success, and instead what they do, they give up a shorthanded goal. Anthony Cirelli gets his 10th of the season, assist to Brandon Hagel on this one,
and Blake Wheeler and Neil Pionk.
Well, let me. So there was an article on ESPN.com maybe a couple of weeks ago about grenades in basketball. And what a grenade is called in basketball is apparently, and this is lingo among the players themselves, is when you give up the ball with less than 5 seconds to go on the shot clock, and you're handing a grenade to somebody. So this doesn't look good on Neil Pionk. It doesn't look great on Neil Pionk, but in my estimation, he's handed a grenade by Blake Wheeler. The fault on this one is more on Wheeler than necessarily on Pionk, because I do not like the read that Blake Wheeler makes here on this to try and make that pass to Neil Pionk, who's not in a position to succeed in that pass. The Brandon Hagel and Cirelli are just too close to Neil Pionk on this one. Everything about it screamed disaster as soon as Wheeler passed it over to Pionk. And I know it's not, it's gonna, if you just focus on Pionk's decision, you're not gonna like it, justifiably so. But I also strongly believe that you do not like Blake Wheeler's decision that preceded the Pionk block shot and then subsequent goal by Cirelli.
Yeah, and the only thing with Pionk, though, is as soon as he makes that pass, because there's not a lot of space between him and Cirelli, he needs to move back a little bit if Wheeler does want to give the puck back to him, which is what he wanted to do to get a shot from the point. So the only thing I would have, to slightly quibble, Drew, with you is I just thought Pionk could have moved back a little bit to give himself that gap, to give himself that space in order to have some time if he gets the puck back, which he of course did. Wheeler wasn't really paying attention to whether Cirelli was right there. So I think that, it was kind of like a double handcuff. Sure. Both players, I think, erred on that play. You're right. Initial reaction was Neil Pionk, muffed it up. And I just saw one of the comments where he also had some indecision. So,
there was definitely indecision on it. And, that's no surprise. Indecision comes when you don't have any confidence.
Yeah, no, I agree. And so I'm just saying, so to me, I agree. I didn't like Wheeler not recognizing that Pionk was low. And I don't like that Pionk didn't recognize that he was low as well and should have moved back to give himself that time and space if he got that pass back. That was my initial assessment. The initial assessment was that Pionk made the mistake. When I watched the replay, that was kind of my thought afterwards, but both that you'd kind of equally blame 26 and for the play. And look, it's an unfortunate circumstance for the Jets because it really does change the tenor of that hockey game, right? It's a game that the Jets are up 3-1 and you could potentially be up 4-1. Yeah. And instead now it's 3-2 and you're like, woo, here you go. We've seen this one before.
Well, 3-2, and then again, we already talked about it, so we're not going to dwell on it anymore, but 3-2, and then the Lightning get the 5-on-3. And the fact that the Jets were able to kill that 5-on-3.
Should probably talk about it, Drew, because it was a pretty impressive kill.
Well, I mean, we did talk about it, but I'm saying, of course, we'll talk about it some more. But I mean, with Scheifele and Stenlund both in the box, the Jets managed to keep the puck out of their own net. I mean, there was the great cross-crease save by Connor Hellebuyck off of Corey Perry, where it looked like Hellebuyck. I mean, it was a great save. Hellebuyck, I think his pad must have been right on the goal line because he was deep in the net to make that save, to go cross crease to make that save on Corey Perry, but he made it nonetheless. And the Jets, they scratched. You saw the fight that you hadn't seen from this Winnipeg Jets team a lot over the last month or so. When this Jets team fought, and that's what fans have been really wanting so desperately to see from them, is just a little bit more fight in their game, a little bit more desperation in their game, a little bit more willingness to say, no, we're not going to get bullied tonight. And that's what you saw, I think, from this Winnipeg Jets team. starting from the 5-on-3 kill all the way through the third period, there were moments of panic, as there always is going to be, but the Jets also had moments where they could have iced the game. They had opportunities to score breakaways in that third period. Kyle Connor had one. David Gustafson, I think, sort of had one. Mason Appleton, I thought had one as well. I might be mistaken on that one, but there were opportunities. So they didn't just sit back. They didn't just collapse into a shell. They took their opportunities. Neither team scored, but the Jets certainly didn't look like they were unwilling to be in the fight, particularly in that third period.
Well, and Drew, the one thing, again, people tend not to focus on the guys during the penalty kill because it's not a individual stat. It's a team stat, right? So because of that, you don't say, oh, well, hey, give credit to Kevin Stenlund, although he was in the penalty box on the 5-on-3, but give credit to Adam Lowry, who's obviously was playing through something. Give credit to Mason Appleton. Give credit to Morgan Barron. But those are the guys, David Gustafson. Those are the guys who do deserve credit because a 5-on-3 is insane. I mean, it's massive when you have a team like Tampa that's as good as they are. That could cause a lot of trouble. And so, and of course, as I said, especially like you said on the Corey Perry save, the number one PKer always has to be your goalie, and Connor Hellebuck was excellent again on that penalty kill. So like the guys don't show up on the stat sheet, so they don't get lauded after the game. They don't get that recognition. But Dylan Sandberg, again, how good has Dylan Sandberg been as a penalty killer in the NHL? He's been excellent. Yeah. So I mean, it's one of these things that, I mean, again, not to like the Jets won, so that everybody's happy. 2 wins in a row, everybody's happy. They're in third place, everyone's happy. And I'm not here to quibble, Drew, but I'm going to quibble a little bit. I don't understand why Dylan Sandberg's coming out of this lineup.
It doesn't make any sense to me either.
It doesn't make any sense. The guy has done more than enough to maintain his spot as an everyday NHLer, and the idea that he comes out. Look, if there's injury, I get it, but like for the way Dylan Sandberg is playing. And don't get me wrong, Dylan Sandberg makes mistakes. I'm not saying he's infallible, but I'm just saying that Dylan Sandberg doesn't deserve to come out of this lineup again.
Right, you won't get a lick of an argument from me. Not a lick at all. And you know how I enjoy licking ice cream and other things and popsicles and things of that nature. But you won't get an argument from me. The Jets win tonight 3-2 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. There weren't any goals in the third period. This is the shortest Betway game recap I think I've done in like the last 3 weeks as it feels. I mean, it just seems like there's been game after game with goal after goal after goal after goal, but 3-2, the old traditional every game in the NHL ends 3-2, and this one certainly does, but 3-2 for the Winnipeg Jets. The Betway game recap brought to you by our friends at Betway. It's simple, fun, and safe to bet with Betway. So head on over to Betway and bet your way. Must be 19 years or older to play. Please play responsibly.
And Drew, I just want to quickly add to that just before because you kind of said that there was nothing that really transpired, but it was still an exciting period. Even though there were no goals, that was actually a very good third period. And there were a lot of opportunities, and you touched on some of the breakaway chances that the team had, or the Jets specifically, that the Jets had. But to me, that was still a very entertaining third period. There was, kind of edge of your seat excitement, and the Jets held on and were able to, I thought they got a little cute with the empty net when you're, rather than make the pass, just go for it and finish the game off. You don't need to assist the guy. But at the same time, it's a big win. It's a big win for the Jets club who, were reeling after a bad homestand, and to be able to, the other thing also, it rewards the fans. And I mean, by the fans, I mean, obviously the people who watch our show and the people who watch these games, but also the fans who make the journey to Florida. And believe me, my heart isn't bleeding for them because they're in plus 26 weather and we're slogging through the snow, although it was rather nice here in Winnipeg today.
I walked with the kids for a Slurpee today.
Yeah, you probably snubbed Murat while you were.
I didn't see Murat. I got my head on a swivel at all times now. I'm looking for Murat here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I think it's nice that there were a lot of on the broadcast tonight and yesterday. You saw a lot of Jets fans, and we know that a lot of folks make the trip to Sunrise and to Tampa to watch the game. So it's a nice reward for them to go there and see the Jets play well. And again, like I had the comment from Vern up, the Jets played with heart. And that's what you wanted to see. You wanted to see a Jets team. It wasn't a perfect game by any stretch of the imagination, but they gutted it out, and it was a gutsy effort, and they beat a good Tampa team. So credit to the Jets, who now, like we just said, are going streaking, have a modest 2-game win streak. The losing the way they were doing before, so nobody's even thinking about it. That's yesterday's news. In fact, that's not yesterday's news because yesterday's news was a win. So folks are just focused on the wins right now.
Yesterday morning's news, though. It was yesterday morning.
Yeah, yesterday morning. That was our Saturday morning show, folks.
Right.
We're not. That's so. What?
That's so 36 hours ago.
Exactly. So and for the record, a lot of you in this chat right now. There's only one thing you should be doing in addition to listening to Drew and I. So technically, two things: listening to us, talking in the chat. Sorry, three things: listening to us, talking amongst yourselves. And smashing that like button.
That's all we ask of you folks. When we come back on the other side, we've got much more to talk about. More on the Jets Lightning. Dave's got a Manuk Moose minute and the Tyrell Bauer fight.
I was going to say it's more of a Tyrell Bauer minute, 41 seconds actually.
If you haven't seen the fight, then stay tuned. Dave is going to break it down blow by blow. We'll do some contest giveaways. We'll do some our regular shenanigans. It's a Sunday night. This is the only place you got to be. I mean, the other option is to watch the Oscars, and it was actually there was a Jets game last year on Oscar Sunday as well when Will Smith hit Chris Rock, because I remember bringing it up on air and everybody was very, very confused because they're like, what just happened? What are you saying? But it was a year ago. I guess it would have been almost a year ago today when that happened. But don't go anywhere. This is way more fun. In fact, Ezzy's going to come in and hit one of us. We're just not telling you
have to guess which
one
one.
Hit. Exactly. You have to guess which one he's going to hit, because that's
I can confidently say, Drew, as an aside, I've never in my life watched the Oscars, and I will never watch the Oscars. The only award, in fact, I will never watch any award show with the exception of one. The Ezzies.
The Ezzies. Yeah, I know. The Ezzies is the grandest night in Twittertainment. Much more to come. It's the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Manuk with you on a Sunday night. Don't go anywhere.
Jerry Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Jon Stewart, Dennis Miller, Brad Garrett, the biggest acts and all the up-and-comers. They've all made their mark at Rumors Comedy Club, North America's longest-running independent comedy club. Rumors has kept Winnipeg laughing for over 25 years. When was the last time you laughed out loud? Make it a great night out with friends or book your office or birthday party, even a fundraising event at Rumors. Get all the details and dates on upcoming shows at rumorscomedyclub.com.
He winds up. Oh, looks like Ezzy took that one right in the choppers.
A blistering fast puck hurts like HE double hockey sticks. That's why I let the pros at Linden Market Dental Center turn my yow into
wow.
Get your brilliant smile back with state-of-the-art restorative and cosmetic dentistry from real pros.
And remember, always wear a mouth guard.
Now that's solid on ice advice. Learn more at lindenmarketdentalcenter.com. Creating smiles for life.
Whoa, Ezzy, everything okay? You look stressed.
Of course I'm stressed. We're moving, the house is upside down, the kids failed miserably at packing the fine china, and my life is in chaos. Chaos!
Yes, that does sound like a problem.
What am I going to do?
Ezzy, relax. Rolly's Transfer Moving and Storage is the answer. With 60 years of experience in moving Manitobans and a track record of exemplary customer service, one call to Rolly's and your stress is gone. No job is too big or too small. Just visit Rollies.com and they will take it from there.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you, Rollies Transfer Moving and Storage, online at Rollies.com.
Dave, my man, why are you in the car already? It's hours until game time.
Drew, it's because I'm stressed out right now, driving around downtown Winnipeg, looking for a parking spot, and I'm not finding one. I've lost Ginsburg. I don't even know where that guy is right now.
Dave, haven't I taught you anything? Do what I do. Pre-book your entire month's worth of game day parking with the Grid Park app. It's super easy to use and saves me both time and stress.
Well, Drew, I'm not independently wealthy like you are. So I'm sorry that I don't have millions of dollars to pre-book my parking month in advance. What's that going to cost you? $25?
How about $5?
Come on, $5? No way.
$5. I'm not telling you a lie. And our listeners can get a free park with the new special promo code Illegal Curve. Guess what? There's more.
There's more, Drew. You're lying to me. What more could there be?
Grid Park now has underground parking, so my car can stay warm during the game.
So wait a second. All the driving around I do, looking for parking, minus 40. You're telling me I could be toasty warm in a car after the hockey game?
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Underground parking. Just download the Grid Park app. That's GRYD Park and use the code Illegal Curve. All one word. You'll park for free your first time.
Hi, it's Drew from Illegal Curve here. Selling your home can be stressful, but it wasn't for me. Thanks to my friends at Zappia Group Realty, they made the process so easy. My home sold within 48 hours and with multiple offers. Zappia Group Realty took care of everything with their exquisite customer service and attention to detail. If you want to sell your home for more in less time, get started by talking to Frank and Mauro Zappia of Zappia Group Realty. Online at zappiagroup.com.
For 3 generations and over 80 years, Tough Duck has been making apparel that works and plays as hard as the people who wear it. From jackets to work boots and everything in between, Tough Duck's clothing can handle the harshest environments, even the Illegal Curve hockey show. Work to live, live to play. Visit toughduck.com. 20 minutes before the top of the hour, welcome back to the Illegal Curve post-game show. Drew Mandel, Dave Minuk with you on this Tuesday evening. Not Tuesday evening, it's Sunday evening.
Wow,
I got ahead of myself. I was going to say we're going to be back.
Tell me what the future's like, future Drew.
We'll be back on Tuesday evening for the next edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show as the Jets' very difficult road trip through the Eastern Conference continues as they visit Raleigh, North Carolina to meet a Hurricanes team that undoubtedly will be ornery, as you said, Dave. And they got shut out by New Jersey tonight after getting shut out by Vegas. So they're struggling to score as of late. The Jets obviously hope those goal scoring struggles continue on Tuesday night when the Jets visit Carolina. Last time the Jets and the Hurricanes met, you remember the Jets had a commanding 3-0 lead until with about 5 minutes to go in the game. And then the Hurricanes scored 3 times in the last, whatever it was, 5, 6, 7 minutes. It was a long time ago to tie it up. And then, of course, the Jets, I believe Josh Morrissey, if I'm not mistaken, scored the overtime winner
wasn't that the breakaway slap shot?
I believe it was, if I'm not mistaken. But that was it was an entertaining contest the last time they met. We'll see if it'll be similar on Tuesday night.
The Paul Stastny revenge game, Drew.
I don't know about there's much revenge going on there at this point in time, but it'll be another contest. You talk about revenge games, Dave. I mean, did you read Paul Maurice's comments to Mike McIntyre?
I believe Drew, and not only did I read them, my comment in today's morning papers was, well, it's good to see that he still has a silver tongue.
Yeah, a silver tongue indeed. It's just, I mean, he could sell
anything he wanted. Like, honestly, like I was like, we get it, Paul. You're the ultimate salesman.
Yeah, he's a bit of a bullshitter. Maybe more than a little bit. Maybe more than a little. Yeah. I mean, look, it was so over the top that it was disingenuous, I thought. Yeah, and I don't think that was probably his intention.
I don't think so either. But
I think sometimes he just gets caught up in himself.
Yeah, and I think he just wanted to come across as like not being dismissive of the Jets.
Right.
You're right. He just went so far past.
Yeah.
Like anybody who's like watching this team where it's like, well, what are you suggesting? Are you trying to protect yourself here to say that? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, if that's what the Jets are, then what are the Boston Bruins on the verge of world domination? I mean, if the Jets, it just rang a little hollow to me. And I think it's probably not intentional. I don't think that.
I agree. I think it sounded a little bit more, Well, Ty, we're not going to tell you. Ty said he missed the morning papers.
Go to illegalcurve.com.
Illegalcurve.com. The morning papers are up 24/7. You can always get them. They've got all the Jets news, all the Moose news, all the Ice news. Come on.
I'm pretty sure
we're your home for hockey in Manitoba, boys and girls. Let's step up here. If you need to get it. It's always open 24/7.
Look, if you missed the morning papers from 8 months ago, they're still there. You're just going to have to search for them, but if you want to read Drama in the Desert from 13 years ago, you can go and read those. If you want to read Drama in the Desert in Dixie, by the way, Dixie was added by Drew when the Thrashers, little unknown fact, when Bill Daly came on Illegal Curve, the hockey show on TSN 1290, and said, I don't know why everybody's talking about Arizona. They should be talking about Atlanta. It was literally the first time the deputy commissioner of the NHL mentioned that. As far as I can recall, am I not wrong? I'm right, Drew? You're right. It was the first time that anyone had any inkling that the attention should shift from the Coyotes, I guess the Phoenix Coyotes at the time, to Atlanta, and then obviously we know how that quickly spiraled out of control.
Well, all of a sudden it was like Drama in the Desert and Dixie, and let me tell you, I mean, I did get some hate as a result of it, as people who listen to the show know. We agree, Kyle, with you. You don't have to pardon your French. We agree with that assessment. But no, what I was going to say,
also that wasn't French, Kyle.
Yeah, well, maybe he meant seal. Maybe he was calling him a seal.
That's
But
right.
anywho, the point is that no, what I was going to say is that's the only time I've ever had hate mail was because I used to do that drama in the desert every day, and I was doing all the stuff about the coyotes.
Didn't some guy say that you should get run over by a bus?
He did tell me to get run over by a bus, and not the Gus bus, but an actual bus.
Yeah.
So I wrote him back because I was like, I'm going to disarm him with kindness. So I wrote him back. I was, I wasn't sure what approach to take, but I tried a little honey, as my Baba would suggest. And so I wrote him back and I said, I'm sorry you feel this way, but da. And I said, I've never said anything inflammatory about Phoenix or Arizona or anything like that. I just reporting it. And he wrote me back. He said, you know what, Dave, I've reconsidered. I'm sorry. I hope you don't get hit by a bus.
I hope you get hit by a semi instead, is what he said. He was very considerate about it. He recalibrated. He wanted to be a bigger vehicle than a bus. It was, a bus
he's like, he wrote PS. Yeah. Not a bus, a semi.
That's right, exactly. Do you mind standing in front of a jet engine as it fires up? That's what he was actually hoping you would do at that point in time.
Yeah.
We've obviously gone off topic, as we so often do on the show.
Shocker.
But the Manitoba Moose were in action earlier tonight, and they lost earlier this afternoon. They lost in Iowa, which means they got swept in the doubleheader, which isn't great in the standings, of course. But the fight, which you put the video up, I think it's on your Twitter feed and probably on our Instagram, and maybe it's on the Illegal Curve Twitter feed as well. The fight that you have to give highlights about and sort of break down as you only can as part of the...
Put on your antlers. It's time for the Minute Moose Minute on the Illegal Curve Hockey Show.
That is 100% true, Drew. It is the Tyrell Bauer Hour, the 2020 sixth rounder of the Winnipeg Jets, because
I'm not staying here for an hour. I'm tired.
This
is our third show in the last 36 hours.
I know that's fair, Drew, but the people need what they want, so we're not here. We're not here to deny the people what they want.
Not an hour.
Fine, fair enough. I won't give people an hour of Moose talk. The Moose lost, so people might not be interested in. It's very rare for the Moose to lose twice in regulation, and that's what they did. Refereeing again, you don't want to blame that on the special teams. Weren't special for the Manitoba Moose. They gave up 4 power play goals, even though they have I think they're the 7th best penalty kill in the AHL. They were going into today's game. They might be 8th or 9th now, but they gave up 4 power play goals over the course of the 2 games against Iowa. So not a special power play penalty kill, I should say, by the Manitoba Moose. But they had a lead. They actually started off the game. Tyler Boland, he was in it. The Moose, in terms of lineup, the only things they did was they made a swap of Simon Lundmark for Tyrell Bauer, and Dean Stewart came in for Jimmy Olney. But other than that, everything, and Arvid Holm had the net. But other than that, the forwards all stayed the same. Christian Reichel still day-to-day. Dominic Connato is still home with his new family, so he may join the Moose when they take on Rockford, which is on Wednesday. But the rest of the Moose look good. They got a good start, and they were up 1-0. Courtesy of Tyler Boland. Nice little pass by Greg Morrell. Thank you, T-Well. I appreciate it. I also don't want to get hit by a bus, unless it's the Gus bus. But for right now, we'll just hope that I stay away from all buses. City.
I'm not sure the Gus bus was able to get into third gear when he had that breakaway.
I did feel bad. I was tweeting the game from the Illegal Curve account, and I did have it written. I was like, that might be the slowest breakaway we've seen all season long. But he eventually got it into. He at least got into a high second gear, Drew. Maybe third, but it was not an ideal Gus bus situation, unfortunately for him, because he still is without his first goal. I thought he actually could have a goal. It kind of feels like he's close to breaking through, and this is technically somewhat of an aside, but he did spend a lot of time with the Manitoba Moose, so maybe it's not too much of one. But the fact is, the Moose, getting back to the Moose, Drew, speaking of Greg Morellis, who made the nice pass to Tyler Boland, set up the goal, he scored a nice one of his own. Thomas Caron got his first point. He's been injured, and he was in the ECHL. He's a big boy from Quebec, and he made a nice play, set up Morales, who got a nice little goal. So suddenly the Moose are up 2-0. You're thinking, okay, well, the Moose have this. This is probably a solid win, a good bounce back for the Manitoba Moose. But then Marco Rossi, the 2020 ninth overall pick, who went 1 pick ahead of Cole Perfetti, as folks will remember, and a lot of Jets fans were thinking he may be selected by them. He scored his first goal of the game on the power play with 5 minutes to go in the second period to cut the Moose lead in half. A bit of an unfortunate one. I think Ville Heinola may have been in the penalty box for that one. But then the part we have to talk about, Drew, the part that everyone's here to hear about, Tyrell Bauer. First of all, he laid out a massive hit. And unfortunately, AHL TV, sometimes, especially depending on the building you're in, the replays aren't always the best. The Iowa one, which has got a pretty cool building, as folks saw when Daniel Fink joined us yesterday on the broadcast, but their TV angles weren't the best. So unfortunately, you didn't get a chance to see Tico Napoli. Wouldn't even be awake right now if he would just passed out seeing this hit. Tyrell Bauer laid on, I can't remember who he hit one of the Wild guys, obviously, into the bench. And that, of course, caused a melee. So Tanner Kaspick, who, of course, wore Moose colors after he was drafted during the pandemic year, when he was drafted in the 4th round, I believe, by the St. Louis Blues, but St. Louis assigned him to the Moose. So he played for the Manitoba Moose for, I think, towards the end of no, you know what? Actually, I'm wrong. Wasn't the pandemic year, because he played in the playoffs for the Moose. So it must have been the year before that, I think. But anyways, Tanner Kaspick came to his teammate's defense, and Tyrell Bauer. It was a battle of two big Western Canadian boys, one from Cochrane, Alberta, the other from Brandon, Manitoba. And it was quite a tilt. And I would give the decision to Tyrell Bauer, because he tuned him up. And as Drew said, if you didn't see it, if you didn't get a chance to see it, I've got it on my Twitter, IC Dave. It'll be in tomorrow's morning papers. It'll be linked, and of course on the Illegal Curve Instagram. But yeah, it was quite a tilt, and I thought it might change the momentum of the game a little bit. It was towards the end of the game, at the end of the second period, but instead, and I'll glaze over this quickly because I don't think folks are going to be that interested. The Wild came out on fire a little bit. The Moose didn't really have a lot of jump, and 3 straight goals in the back of the Moose net, including one which was an empty netter, but another one on the power play. And the Moose end up leaving Iowa, being swept by them, which is what the Moose did to Iowa about a month ago when they were in Manitoba. So they returned the favor, and now the Moose, which actually for Iowa, who Moose were comfortably in 3rd, looked like to get either 1st or 2nd. And now you've got Iowa, I believe, is just 4 points back of Manitoba. Manitoba has 69 points. The Wild have 65, as do, I think, Rockford. So that sets up a good game on Wednesday, and hopefully for the Moose, they'll have Dominic Toninato back in the lineup.
So what you're saying from Iowa's perspective is that revenge, they got revenge against the Moose, and it's a dish best served corn.
I knew you were going somewhere. I didn't know where you were going to go.
See, I'm raising my eyebrows there. You see, the eyebrows are going up there?
It was a little too corny for me, for my liking. So I'm going to, I saved my corn jokes, Drew, as everyone knows, for the Morden Corn and Apple Festival at the end of August. One of the best festivals in Manitoba. If you haven't been, I recommend it. So check out that for our good friends at Morden.
There you go. So you weren't. I thought my joke was a little lame, but
CMAC wants me to show the video. I mean, I could try and show the video.
I don't think we can, because
I can show it without volume. I mean, it's a little bit of a violation, but
let's not get any YouTube violation.
Throws it. You know, you're not going to be able to see it anyway.
Just go find it on Dave's Twitter or Dave's Instagram or the Illegal Curve Instagram. Dave himself doesn't have Instagram, but the Illegal Curve Instagram or Dave's at IC Dave, you can find it there. Yeah, so I know it was a terrible joke, folks. I do know that it was a terrible joke. I just want to make sure that at no point in time have I ever considered myself a stand-up comedian. I leave that to the experts at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, and I have nothing to do with that.
Oh, and Drew, sorry, one last thing before we get into the contest. Winnipeg Ice, 52nd win of the season. They're going for some history. As I said yesterday, they beat the Brandon Wheat Kings, their provincial rivals, 4-1 today in Winnipeg. So now they are, I can't remember if that was the end of their homestand. They've only got 6 or 7 games left now. I think it's 6. They've got 6 games left. And if they can get 2 more wins, they will set a historic mark with 54 on the season. And they're setting it up for, speaking of Tyrell Bauer, his old team, the Seattle Thunderbirds, which is Brad Lambert's current team. And I will say, that's a little segue now to some quick prospect talk, Drew.
Oh boy, here comes the Dave Dub diatribe.
Well, this Dave Dub diatribe is worthwhile, because if you didn't see it, I know you saw it, Drew, but if you didn't see it, go to the Illegal Curve Instagram or again on my IC Dave page, because I tweeted out Brad Lambert. He was like Nikolai Ehlers-esque with the way he whipped around the zone and then literally broke a guy, not literally, but figuratively broke a guy's ankle, set up a beautiful goal, and then sniped one himself. And then also Rutger McGroarty, he had a goal and assist in Michigan's big win over Ohio State. Now, while his goals and his assists were nothing to write home about, his post-goal and assist celebrations are things that I think are going to endear him to Winnipeg Jets fans. So if you didn't get a chance to see that, we like you to like this show. We'll also go and to our Instagram and hit those likes because they were some pretty good videos.
There you go. Getting back to the Jets and the Lightning, our Seagram's shot of the game, courtesy of our friends at Seagram's. We're going to give the Seagram's shot of the game to the game-winning goal deposited in the back of the net by Morgan Barron. Everybody going hard towards the net. Good things happen when you crash the crease, and Morgan Barron gobbles up some garbage and puts it behind Andrei Vasilevsky. That's our Seagram's shot of the game. Seagram's VO, masterfully blended, distinctly Canadian, available at your local liquor mart and anywhere else that fine liquor products are sold. Why are you giggling?
Look at what did I just put up on the thing. Kenny's water bottle.
Kenny. Well,
that is a joke.
Excellent. For
that's
those
a
of
joke.
The podcast, Kenny's saying, I must say, Drew's joke was definitely not amazing. Maize being M-I-Z-E, as if it was corn. Excellent job, Kenny's water bottle. The best jokes have to be explained for podcast listeners after the fact. That's usually what happens.
Now I'm thinking about the movie. What was the movie with Sandler and all the guys?
He's made a lot.
But when they go like they go back to the old town when the coach dies. It's like they're all buddies. Like Kevin James is in it. Chris Rock is in it.
Yeah, I think I vaguely know what you're talking about. I don't think I ever saw the movie though.
There's like 8 of them. There's at least 3 of them. Grown-ups.
Okay.
You never saw it? Really? Well, okay. Because anyways,
Rob blends together.
Fine. Well, Rob Schneider's character is in it, and he's like kind of like this earthy dude, and he's like, I'll make a poultice. And is there maize in it?
Okay, well, you're selling it to me there, my friend.
The people in the chat know what I'm talking about. They like that. They like that maize one. I'm just going on maize.
The illegal curve merchandise contest. To enter the illegal curve merchandise contest, you hit the link in the show page, hit the drop down arrow. You'll see the link to the contest page. You'll see all the different things you can do to gain entries and gain ballots into the contest. If you can't find it on the YouTube page, it's all over the website, illegalcurve.com. Basically, click on any article. You'll see the link to the contest page there. One of the things you can do is enter the unique code word. You can only get that unique code word if you watch this post-game show or if you download the podcast and listen to the podcast afterwards. The unique code word for
or Drew, unless you're Frosty or Alan and you guess it,
you're just guessing it. Sure, fine, unless you're that. But the unique code word, which will now be is active now all the way through until Tuesday, and the Jets and the Carolina Hurricanes. Tonight's unique code word is sweeping sunshine, as in the Winnipeg Jets were sweeping sunshine state teams like the Panthers and the Lightning, winning both games this weekend. Sweeping sunshine, the winner is the unique code word. Enter that code word and you get, I believe, 10 entries into the Illegal Curve merchandise contest. We have a contest winner to announce. I'll put the name on the screen. Dave M, you do the honors.
Francis Worth.
There you go.
Francis Worth. Well done, Francis Worth. Francis is showing the worth of entering the contest because Francis is the winner of the merch contest.
There you go.
Showing that it was worthwhile for Francis to enter the contest.
You're dying slowly here as you keep talking, I got to be honest. But in any event, Francis Worth is the winner of the merchandise contest. Congratulations to Francis. Good job entering the contest. Good job winning the contest. We'll have another contest coming up on Tuesday when the Jets and the Carolina Hurricanes meet. Quick out-of-town scoreboard update. I know I wasn't going to do it all throughout the show, and that's the only time I've done it. Calgary up 4-1 on Ottawa, end of the second period. So the Flames are in control there. We'll see if they're able to hold on or if they collapse. Minnesota Wild up 3-2 in Arizona against the Coyotes. That's halfway through the second period. And the Nashville Predators and the Anaheim Ducks are knotted up at 2 goals apiece. That is in the latter half of the second period as well. That was basically it in terms of relevant games to the Winnipeg Jets and their playoff chances. But you'll keep an eye on how those games end. And then, of course, Tuesday night, the Jets back at it against the Hurricanes. Post-game show, 8:45 p.m. or so. back here on our YouTube channel. So be sure to join us after the Jets and the Carolina Hurricanes in what ought to be another entertaining tilt as this road trip continues. Want to say a big thank you to all of our sponsors who make the post-game show, the Saturday show, and the website a possibility. Our friends at Rumors Restaurant and Comedy Club, they present Chris Redd from Saturday Night Live. He'll be there Thursday through Saturday. Tickets are available in limited quantities, so get those quickly. RumorsComedyClub.com. Mike Green also at Rumors Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. Our friends at Linden Market Dental Center, The Keg, Grid Park, Zappia Group Realty, Tough Duck, Boston Pizza, Rolly's Transfer, Seagram, they sponsor the shot of the game, and of course Betway, they're the title sponsor of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Support these fine businesses because of their continued support of Illegal Curve hockey.
Drew,
3 shows, 36
Drew,
hours.
I have a
yes,
question
Dave.
for you.
I
Shouldn't those comedians be like the Christmas comedians?
Because why? Mike Green and then Chris Redd. I got good God Almighty. That makes my Maze joke look good.
I was trying to make a red green joke, but then I couldn't really think of a red green, and I was like, I don't really know enough red green to make that funny. So then I tried to make a Christmas joke. Ha. Maze.
Yeah, that's great. We're done. We've done enough. We're going to take tomorrow off of broadcasting, but we'll see everybody again on Tuesday night for yet another edition of the Illegal Curve post-game show. Thanks to all of you for joining us. If you haven't already done so, smash the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, rate us, review us, leave us feedback on YouTube, leave us feedback on iTunes, leave us feedback here, there, and everywhere, and tell your friends and family the best place to be after each and every Winnipeg Jets game, and again on Saturday mornings, is the Illegal Curve YouTube channel. For Dave Manouk, I'm your host, Drew Mandel. Thanks for everyone for joining us. We'll see you Tuesday night. Until then, we wish you good night and good luck, and thanks for watching the Illegal Curve post-game show.
Thanks for listening to this broadcast from Illegal Curve Hockey. For more great Illegal Curve content, subscribe to the Illegal Curve YouTube channel, follow at Illegal Curve on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and visit your online home for hockey in Winnipeg, illegalcurve.com.